Hey everybody, welcome to Drive-Thru Review 427. Today we're going to talk about the expansion for Castles of Mad King Ludwig, and the expansion's name is Secret. Now I don't have a box here because Bezier Games does something which I think is really cool, is they just shrink wrap all the components, the punch board, etc., and then you just kind of dump everything into your base box, which saves space and it's good for the environment and all this cool stuff. So I think that's really great. I should just make mention of that. So I don't have a box to show you here, but let's jump in and take a look at some of the new modules and additions that go with this expansion, and I'll tell you what I think of it. So there's three basic modules that are added to the game when you add the Secrets expansion. Now the first thing you're going to know is you can get these Barbicans, and these are the new starting tiles for the different player colors. And these will replace the foyers. And we'll also have a stack of these moat tiles, and based on the number of players in the game, you'll have a certain number of these. And there are also a handful of new buildings. And the interesting and new thing about these is you can see some of these have little swans on them. So anytime a building comes out to be purchased and sorted out, you're going to draw Swan Tokens equal to the number of swans depicted on the building. And these are shuffled up face down in a pile, and you flip these up and there's 5 different colors of swans, and you're really trying to get a diversity of colors. You want a unique set of each of the 5 different colored swans by the end of the game, or more. Finally, each player will get a set of 3 different secret passages. And you can see you got a little bitty one, and then a straight one, and then an angled one. So let's say we had this situation here. We've got this large funky room that we're trying to place, and now we're going to use our handy dandy secret passage. So we're going to put this down here. This angle is going to allow us to connect these where we normally couldn't, and it's also going to double the connection bonus that might be between these rooms. And this works really well with living rooms, because when you score the completion bonus for the living rooms, you also will of course consider again the secret passages as part of that connection. Now let's talk about the moats. Now when you place a moat, you're going to score 3 points for it, just as you would a building indicated here. And then the special ability is you're going to get 1 point for each of the rooms inside of your moat of the type shown here. So you won't get any extra points for outdoor rooms or hallways or stairways, but you will get points for food rooms, downstairs rooms, and so on that you can see here. Now as you add more and more moats, it's actually going to also again increase the amount of points you get just for placing buildings. So if we added a second moat here, we'd get another 3 points. We get 1 point for each of the rooms that we can see here. But now, as we add new rooms, those are going to trigger again this bonus, so you're going to get 2 extra points at this point for each room that you add that matches the type on the moat. And when you complete the moat, you get a similar completion bonus as you would to some of the normal rooms. And the bonus here is actually to go through and pick any stack of the available rooms and then choose one to add to your castle. Final thing to note about the moats is you can see this little drawbridge here at the bottom of your Barbican. You can connect outdoor rooms to this and then keep chaining outdoor rooms outside of this. Now, any outdoor rooms out here don't count for being inside the moat, so to speak. That makes sense. But you can build, more outdoor rooms. Now you can do also outdoor rooms inside the moated area, and you don't have to try to complete all of the moats. You could just do one side or something like that. And that's really all there is to this expansion. So you've got the moats, you got the swans, and you've got also the secret passages, which are the doublers. Now what do I think of it? Well, I think it really takes the game into sort of the next level, the next stratosphere. The base game as it was fairly like a medium, kind of light, but it's not, you could have some AP with it, but it was a very straightforward game, and it was a lot of fun, and I really, really liked it. But to me, this really cranks it up, and you've really got to pay attention to what everybody's doing. You can really exploit those living rooms that you can get the double bonuses out of, by connecting to the secret passages and rescoring those, and you can generate a ton of points with those. So you really got to watch for that and really try to exploit that. And the thing that sort of pushes it into that next level is in the base game, you didn't really worry too much about how your castle looked. It was kind of interesting and funny that it would look all crazy. But now, since you add in that whole moat thing, you really kind of weigh between, do I even just ignore the moats altogether, or do I go for that and try to get those extra bonuses? Because, as the more moats that you add, you're going to have to make use of those secret passages just to place anything in there. And then you're going to get extra points, just for the buildings and the moat bonus by itself. So there's actually consideration now for the space that you're constructing, which wasn't really there in the base game. It was more just, you know, the pricing and the setting up of that, which is still heavily apparent here and important. And especially with the swans adding, that's all just a whole other consideration to add. So now you could play like just with the swan buildings, you could play just with the moats, or just even with the secret passages if you wanted to just add only the secret passages to the base game. I think that would be a perfectly reasonable way to play, and I actually wouldn't even mind playing that way. So you can sort of ratchet up the complexity and the amount of stress and mental fatigue that you're going to endure, you know, depending on how serious you want to play the game, which is kind of a neat way to do it, because you can play it very easy, set prices, you know, people are just kind of going for the little combos, whereas the building sizes become very important, because now the big buildings are that much sort of not as valuable as they were, especially for somebody that's going through the moat. Even though you got some secret passages to get around some of those rules, you know, it's really tricky to get them in there. So those little square buildings become that much more important. So there's a lot to sort of consider if you add everything in, and the game's really going to just like grow and just stretch and just, you know, be this massive thing that I think is really great, and I think makes the game like a lot better, a lot more interesting, a lot more replayable. You know, because you can really sort of struggle with the strategy that you're trying to go for and what's good. You know, you got the bonus tiles and all that stuff, you know, from the base game. But that might be overwhelming for people that liked sort of the easygoing feel of the base game. So maybe they don't get the expansion, or maybe they can get it and just play with pieces of it and they kind of build towards that if they, you know, have a more sort of easygoing atmosphere at the game table. So I think it's really excellent. I definitely recommend getting it if you like the base game at all. To me, ideally I think I would just play with everything in the box in the game, because I like just the sort of funkiness of this game, where you have the whole price setting thing, which I really, really like. You just, you know, you've got to really think about what to do. It can cause AP. My group's not a big AP group. I've actually played this with the family and my gamer group. We don't get super AP into stuff, you know, once in a while when it's really important, but so I haven't really dealt with that. I have heard of people that, you know, do struggle with the AP in this, but I think that is the best way to play the game, to just add all that in there and just really have all those extra considerations. It makes it really, really fun. So anyway, definitely take a look at the game. Thanks.